Like, yeah. All right. So, welcome back.
Thanks.
How are you?
I'm doing okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, good. Well, let's see. So, why don't we just start with like sharing a little bit about how your past week has been since last time we met?
Sure.
Yeah.
I don't know. I guess I feel a little bit better. I don't know. I feel a little bit. I don't know. I don't feel as down as I did. I'm not sure what happened, but I don't know. I'm feeling a little bit better the last couple weeks. So
That's good, right?
Yeah.
Well, I'm really happy to hear that. That's always like, it's gotta be a good feeling to like, feel better, obviously.
Yeah.
Well, I remember the last week we had kind of talked about some goals and some like homework. Do you remember at all what we? No, that's okay.
No, I'm so sorry.
No, that's okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So, we had talked about like giving your mom a call and like paying attention to kind of like the thoughts and feelings that went through your head as you did that, like before you called her, or maybe while you were calling her and after. Did you have a chance to do that, or?
I mean, I did talk to my mom, but I didn't actually think about that.
Okay, that's no problem. That's no problem. It's kind of like it could be challenging to remember to do that stuff.
Okay.
So that's okay. We can kind of go in a different direction for today. So I really kind of wanted to simplify things and maybe just talk about for you, like maybe for you to share with me like what an average day for you is like.
Sure.
Yeah.
An average day for me looks like waking up for school, going to class, doing some homework at the library, and then going to work maybe, and then just going back home and just kind of finishing up my day there.
Okay. And what kinds of like I'm really I'm really happy to hear that you're starting to feel better. It sounds like in recent sessions you kind of had mentioned feeling down like yourself and kind of like reasons why you're here today. So it sounds like you have specific tasks that you complete throughout your day. What kinds of moods are you in during your day? Like what kinds of
what kind of moods am I in? I mean, I guess in the morning I'm just kind of feeling kind of tired.
Okay.
I'm not that much of a morning person, so
Okay, gotcha.
It's a little bit difficult. But like during class, I mean, I'm passionate about photography, and that's why I'm in school. So I actually feel really engaged in the material, and it's actually kind of the highlight, I would say, of my day. I kind of feel more. Actually, I kind of feel more like myself when I'm in class.
When you're in class, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So when you leave from class, how does your feelings of being yourself change?
Yeah, I guess I kind of just go back. When I go home, I get kind of like depressed, and I don't know, just still kind of thinking about my mom and just my family, and just trying to. I don't know, just kind of focus on school. That's why I'm here. But for some reason it's kind of hard. But I guess the highlight is actually, just going to school. Otherwise, it just feel kind of sad, like we've been talking about the last couple weeks.
Okay. So going home, you start to feel a little sad. They're not going to be able to hear you. I just want to make sure. Okay, cool. So going home, you start to feel a little bit depressed. What do you think? Well, why don't we take a different direction? What is your home life like right now? Like your home environment? Because I know you live here, obviously going to school. So what is going home like? What is it like there?
Like here in Ann Arbor.
Not your kids, yeah.
Okay. I mean, it's kind of lonely because I don't live with anyone, so I just do an apartment to myself. I have a studio.
Okay.
So I just go home and cook something or get takeout or something, and yeah. So I guess it kind of feels kind of empty.
Empty. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So so yeah, you're going home to a quieter household. It sounds like. What do you think triggers the depressed mood that you experience once you get home?
What do you mean? What does trigger?
Like, you said that you get home and you start to feel depressed, and you said that you start to have like thoughts of your family. What do you think triggers those thoughts to start happening or to start occurring?
I think that if I'm not being like stimulated at school and have things to do and projects to keep me busy,
Okay.
I just go back to if I have time alone just to think about family relationships and
Okay.
just worry about people. I feel like maybe being busy kind of keeps my thoughts at bay, kind of.
Okay. Yeah.
So
Yeah, we had talked about how much power our thoughts can have over our emotions last time. We talked about how much power those can have. So I'm sure that having all those thoughts rummaging around in your mind, could lead to some forms of depressed mood. So what do you do when you're like at home and you're feeling those types of emotions or those thoughts are running through your head?
So my best friend Alexis lives in Grand Rapids, and so sometimes I'll just like try to call her, but she's also really busy.
Okay.
But I'll try to talk to her.
Okay.
That's part of the
or maybe I'll check on my parents and see how they're doing.
Okay. Okay.
Or I'll just try to work on my school stuff and focus on that.
Okay.
That's what I really want to do.
Okay. So you try to keep yourself busy, try to distract yourself to focus on something other than the thoughts that are going through your
Yeah, I think that's a good way to put it. Like, I just trying to distract myself.
Okay. Okay.
It's worked this far, except for now it's maybe not, but...
Yeah. Well, yeah, expand on that. What do you mean when you say that?
Well, I guess now that I'm saying it, I think that's just kind of what I've always done, to kind of not let myself worry too much. Even though that doesn't even always work either.
Okay.
But does that make sense or not really? Maybe I should
Yeah, keep explaining.
Okay.
Yeah, keep explaining.
So I guess if I'm worried about my family or something like that, I know that I can stop it by focusing on something else and distracting myself.
Okay.
School,
Okay.
or maybe worrying about someone else.
Okay. Yeah. You can you like just try to transfer your attention to something different, right?
Yeah.
Is that right in saying that?
Yeah, but isn't that like doesn't everyone do that, or do I have like?
I mean, I don't know if everybody does that, but I'm sure that you're not the only one who does that. I think trying to think of other things to distract ourselves from thinking about things that make us feel unhappy is pretty normal.
Oh, I thought it was something else. I mean,
Yeah.
I think we talked about this last time. Just going out and taking photos.
Yeah.
That's very relaxing. So
Yeah.
I do that too, but I haven't been, as I said, I haven't been doing it that much these days. But I know that is something that
It's like a form of self-care for you.
form of self-care. Yeah, sure. Like it. Yeah, I used to do that like very often, but
Okay.
as I said, like, these days I
Yeah.
haven't. But even just saying it now, it just kind of it does bring me joy to even think about.
To think about taking photos.
Yeah.
That's really important to acknowledge, right? Like being aware of the things that make us happy and how to kind of get ourselves out of negative thought processes that could be making us feel certain emotions that aren't necessarily like who we normally are, right? So, what do you think is so you said like I've heard you kind of mention like these days you're feeling like a little different. and that you haven't really gone out and taken photos. So what do you think is stopping you from going out and taking photos, or stopping you from kind of refocusing your energy or changing the way you're thinking, like you said you've done in the past?
What's happening?
Stuff to do in the yard, just kind of get
You know, I don't really know. I think like when I started coming here,
So yeah, I've been out, probably like every other day.
it was kind of marked by thinking more about my family. So I think I don't really know if that makes sense, if that's right, but that's kind of what
Second friend of mine
happened.
So I'm hearing that
he told me that
being separated from your family and the thoughts of your family are becoming are more prominent just because you're not with them as often. Is that correct?
So sometimes they don't know until like a week or two out.
I think it's more like even when I was in Grand Rapids,
trying to fill. So,
I just thought about
I guess it was last week. I spent some time
my mom a lot, and
which I've kind of.
so I think I actually started even before I came here. Just the distance.
Okay, but you don't remember feeling these same sort of moods and emotions in Grand Rapids?
No, I think I did start.
You did start feeling this way. Okay, so how long do you think you've been feeling the way you're feeling right now, or like the way you've been feeling lately?
I mean, I feel like it's been a few months, but now that I'm thinking about it, I think those thoughts did come a lot earlier than the past few months.
They came before, like
the past few months. Yeah.
Okay.
But I guess it didn't affect me as much. Maybe it's just like the
certainly possible that somebody else will get it before I do, based on
just the prolonged amount of time.
But yeah, it feels good.
Okay.
It's kind of wearing. I feel like it's kind of wearing me down.
Okay.
But
See how it goes.
yeah, I think just
between
I've just thought a lot about
stuff around the house,
just kind of what it was like growing up,
the cover letter was probably the harder thing.
With my mom.
I didn't have to explain anything
Just kind of
as far as
more
why I
like it wasn't just a very healthy space.
Okay.
And
in that
honestly,
environment.
people who read it at college are kind of
So yeah, she had bipolar.
Right. Yeah. I remember you saying that.
It was very
but still,
kind of all over the place.
Okay.
So
Okay.
I guess actually I just kind of feel like it's not fair.
Okay. Like, what do you mean by that? Like, when you say it's not fair?
Just I just heard so many other stories of people that had healthy,
I think there was some sense of
like relationship with their parents,
let down, kind of put myself out there.
that could be. I mean, just the basics of trust that someone has for their parents, something that I don't have.
Okay.
But at the same time,
I can't really trust my mom because she's not doesn't follow through with things.
Right.
She like takes my stuff. So yeah.
So it sounds like you feel you may feel like a sense of like I'm hearing that you don't really feel like you can rely on your mom very often.
Yeah.
Yeah, so like a little bit unstable there.
Yeah.
Okay. A lot unstable. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I remember you sharing earlier about your relationship with your mother, and how I think last week we talked a lot about how you have you've expressed feelings of guilt about how you feel like a sense of responsibility to take care of her, but at the same time you feel a sense of like relief and comfort in not having to take care of her being here. Is that kind of...
Yeah, that's totally true.
Yeah.
I mean, even just, talking, having the space to talk about my childhood, I think I kind of took the more adult role growing up. And so now I feel kind of relieved to be away from that, and so yeah, I feel kind of guilty. So I think that's right.
Okay, yeah. So then, what would it look like to
have stuff to work on the last couple of weeks.
Like, when we think about our thoughts, we've been talking a lot about thoughts lately. And thinking, about your family and you know, the responsibilities you have, but then like all those thoughts and feelings that are going on. What would it look like to transform them to be more like to be more positive? If that makes sense. Like,
Okay. Yeah, can you? I don't really understand.
yeah, I know. I was like, I don't know if I even understand what I'm trying to ask. Because what I'm hearing from you is that when you think about your family, you think about a guilt. You think about feeling guilty, or you think about all the things that you maybe should be doing to help your mom, or the fact that you're not there to help, or am I okay? So when you think about your family, what would it take to maybe to think of them in a more positive light, or to think about your relationship with them more positive, to kind of help foster healthier and happier feelings, you know?
No, I would love to do that. I mean, I think we can do that in our work together. So
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
So what do you think is preventing you from thinking like positive thoughts about your family well-being here?
Stopping the lack of positive experiences.
Yeah.
But also I think I tend to like just blame myself. So I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I've begun to have more of those days than not.
But yeah.
I still have some days where I didn't have much.
Blame. Okay. Can you expand on that a little bit? Like, what do you mean?
Sure. I was just trying to think about another example of that.
Right.
Sorry.
No.
Yeah, so, you know, I think when I was growing up, if my mom wasn't, if she was having a bad week or something, I would kind of blame myself, because I know that, like, when she would talk to me more often, she would kind of feel better, and she would, say, you know, Allie, like, I love, like, when you come over, visit,
Yeah, I
when
think
you
so.
visit me, when you help, and, you know, I've like, cleaned up her house before, I've, like, you know, just taking care of her, and, you know, I helped her when she was like wasted.
I guess part of what I realized
driven
is
her from like
a lot
yeah,
of
I've
this big
just
stuff
done so much for her, so I feel like kind of it was like up to me to do that. So
Okay.
there's just not a ton I can do about a lot of that. And so
if I'm not helping her, then
That's a good friend right there. You don't even have to explain.
Who is, right?
Mhm.
Yeah. Okay. That, yeah. I mean, that I can see how having such a strong role in your mother's life, and feeling a sense of that. Like, it's, I mean, what I'm hearing is that it sounds like she almost depended on you to feel happy, or to feel is that
yeah, I feel like she depended on me too much, and you know, especially in the Korean community, it was always kind of embarrassing to just have a mom that was unstable, because
I guess
friends,
part of what I'm thinking was
you know, their parents are like doctors and lawyers and all this stuff, and so just kind of, I guess, kind of embarrassed too. So I didn't really want to talk about it with people. So.
Yeah, and not having a space to talk and digest all these thoughts and feelings and emotions, that must have been difficult for you growing up, to have to hold it all in.
Yeah, we go to
So
this church.
Now kind of thinking about
some weeks
the
I've
current
been
state of where you are, who do you, have you found, I mean, you mentioned your friend, that you sometimes call her to kind of talk things over. Do you feel comfortable now discussing your relationship with your mother with other people in your life?
Yeah, I mean,
yeah, you
okay.
did.
Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, talked to my boyfriend about it.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good question.
So he's been understanding. It's probably the main support that I have here.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I remember you mentioned him. And I remember we kind of talked about how like he tries to kind of like he's tried in the past to kind of talk to you about because you had mentioned before that he had noticed a change in you, and when he tried to kind of address the changes that he saw or whatever, you like kind of felt not comfortable having that conversation.
Yeah, that's it's like a weird feeling. Like I feel like kind of annoyed when he brings things up. Then I know also like I should probably tell him, you know, what's going on. But I also don't want to like burden him too with all this stuff.
Okay.
So yeah.
So do you think he has a like a solid understanding of your relationship with your mom, or have you, or do you feel like he has a very like shallow idea of what it was like?
That's a really good question. You have to ask him. But I feel like he has a pretty decent understanding
Yeah.
of my parents.
Okay.
My dad.
Okay. Because did you say that you met him here in Ann Arbor, or did you?
I did.
You did meet him here. Okay.
But he's met them. Yeah,
Okay.
He's met them and
Okay.
so
Okay. Gotcha. Good. Well, that's really good. That you have a support system here, someone you feel like you can talk to, and share. These. Like, do you do that now? Do you share like these? I know you say you come home and you have all these thoughts about your family and they're kind of bring you down. Do you share those thoughts with your boyfriend?
I guess I said in the beginning, I kind of feeling a little bit better. So actually, when I think about it, I have opened up a little bit more.
Okay.
With him, but I'm still trying to feel.
I guess if I just
like, he has his own stuff going on. I don't want to like burden him with too much, but I guess I need to like be like aware and open to the fact that he's trying to support me and he cares about me. So I guess should I just like keep saying? Are you suggesting to like keep to sharing with him? And
well, I'm actually like
even more excited
a little curious as to I heard you mention like you feel like a burden. Can you maybe expand on that a little bit more? What you mean by that when you say you feel like a burden when you in regards to like sharing information about what you're struggling with other people?
So how I was raised in my family was that it's you don't like sharing difficult things with other people like makes them naturally worry about you, and everyone has their own stuff to worry about.
Okay.
And so when I was raised with the notion or the idea that like you should just kind of work through your own problems by yourself, and if you do share, it's obvious that the other person is going to struggle right there with you, and they have their own stuff going on. I don't want to be a burden to people like that. So.
Okay. Yeah. So what does working through your problems on your own look like for you?
I mean, it's difficult. I mean, I can't really work the problems alone, but I've just been trying to do that because I don't want to weigh anyone else down. So.
Right. So do you think, I mean, you mentioned that your boyfriend has asked about, like, you and asked about, like, kind of try to, figure out what's going on. So do you think you'd be weighing him down if you shared your thoughts with him and if he tried to open up more?
If he was here, he probably would say that I'm not down, but I still feel bad.
Yeah. And what do you think it would,
situations, so like, just being more
what do you think it would look like if you were to open up more to him and share your thoughts?
What would it look like?
Yeah, like how do you think it would change things for you?
For me?
Yeah.
I think she's seen that in me before.
I think I would have to be okay with letting him like worry more
Wide open, stretched out
about me and my life,
before us, and we both had all these big
and not feel guilty that it's impacting him.
And
in
so
any way.
yeah, just to kind of
When he already has stuff going
have
on.
that
Right.
confidence again that
But I think,
no matter what happens, then
I mean,
it makes the rest of
I think
it.
it would feel better than not saying anything.
Yeah.
Find a way
Okay. I mean, I think
to make things
I don't know. From
work
what
out
I'm
in
hearing,
a
it sounds
way.
like you're kind of coming to a little bit of a realization of something, which is that,
just to know that I'll make
like
something
right
good.
now, you're trying to deal with things on your own, which makes sense because that's how you were raised, is to kind of try to tackle hardship by yourself because you don't want to burden somebody else.
Yeah, I'd
But
like
at the
to,
same time, you
because
have someone in your life
the kids are
who
only gonna
is
get busier.
kind of willing to take on some of your
We've got
burden. And although it may be difficult for you to
sometimes that takes planning
kind of step
ahead,
away
sometimes
from
it just takes that.
a way you were raised, it might in the end kind of help you by like leaning on somebody else. You know,
So
maybe
yeah,
take
I think
like
we both
you may end up having to put a little bit burden on somebody else, but in the end it'll take a little bit off of you. And since this person is, you know,
feel like making
willing
fun of
to
your family, not just for
take on that burden,
stuff like that.
it may make a difference.
So yeah,
Yeah,
I'd like to
that's true.
What do you think about making those potential changes?
Because yeah, before my mom got sick,
I mean, I could try to.
To try to.
Yeah.
What would it take for you to open up to him more?
but yeah, I think you can still do it.
I think, I don't know. I don't really know what would take. Yeah. I mean, this is helpful, just like talking this through.
Yeah.
It just kind of like makes
Right,
sense.
right.
But I think too, like, I mean, the
You
reason
know,
I
just like feeling tired.
came into therapy anyway is to like work on my problems.
90 miles to Lansing.
I mean, he is, you know,
Being tired driving in the car.
a resource.
Mm-hmm.
So it's also part of that, but a resource. that I
So,
have.
and
So
also, I guess just
yeah, makes
maybe
sense that I
just
should
being
do that.
getting there.
Okay. Well, I'm happy to hear that, you know, it makes sense to you, and if I'm gathering this correctly, you seem to feel like maybe a little hesitant as to how it might work for you, but you seem
But yeah, just
pretty
the
like
frame of mind.
okay with the idea of trying it out, trying like to open up a little bit more.
Yeah. And it'll probably influence our relationship in a really good way too. Like, I think he's just been kind of waiting for me to like open up too.
I think it.
Okay, yeah.
Well, I mean, because as you said, he's been asking and stuff. So.
Right.
I'd
Yeah.
like-
And I remember you had mentioned, like our first session, you had mentioned that there is a little bit of
Kind of get up every day.
dissatisfaction in your relationship between the two of you. You kind of
Yeah.
you didn't really know what was going on, but you kind of
Yeah.
felt a little like dissatisfied.
Because I think sometimes it becomes
Yeah.
kind of
And so a lot of times, well, not a lot of times, but I don't know. I believe that people can sense kind of like when someone else is a little upset about something. And so when two people in a relationship together, those things kind of like go unnoticed or undiscussed, but there can still be fun
so
in those
just
spaces.
not realizing that.
So maybe opening up, kind of helping your boyfriend like be on the same page as you may eliminate some of that like uncertainty about what's going on, and could improve the relationship overall too. So
I think too, you know, I just like realized, you know, growing up, my mom was all over the place, and I couldn't really rely on her. So I feel like also,
Yeah, generally I think so.
like,
Yeah.
it makes
Yeah,
me
you know, I
not
think,
really rely on him too much because I really
you know,
couldn't ever depend on
when my mom first got sick, I was still
like that she
working.
cared about me, but she
It was
she
almost
like
like I
hurt me.
was
So
so busy there for a little while that I've tried ever
yeah, I
since
think that's also
to be the
why
opposite of that. You know, 'cause I was trying to
so
work
easy for me to
Yeah.
share those things.
Yeah.
So yeah.
that makes sense. Like because you have it's from
you know, I really kind
what
of
I'm
felt
hearing, it sounds like a little bit of a trust barrier. Like you kind of like don't want to like open up to him if you can't really fully trust that he's gonna be there
year or
in
so.
the end, and that can be scary.
All of that. So
and
I think
I can
maybe
see
I need
kind
to
of like the
think
correlation
about
between those two relationships.
all of that. But it's been a while now, so
Yeah, no, I think
I need to go back and
yeah,
do
that
that
makes sense to
busy
me
to
too.
be, to be busier than I have.
So,
Yeah.
kind of let's going back a
So
little
yeah, it
bit
feels
to your family. It seems like that's a pretty prominent part of your life right now.
Yeah.
I think
And just to
the kind of
not
stuff
like
we
completely
talked about is
disregard, I
the
think
step, just
the
because
conclusions that we've come to
start
about kind of
every day.
utilizing your social support systems in times like these, such as your boyfriend, I think that's something that would be good to work on moving on. But just to kind of backtrack a little bit, you had mentioned that kind of thinking positively about your family is challenging because you haven't had very many positive experiences with your family. I think is what you had described.
And I found
What I mean,
once I kind of got used to it,
from what I'm hearing, is you haven't had very many positive experiences with your mother. What about your father and your sister and that side of your family? I know you had it kind of described to me that your father and you have a really a solid relationship, and you feel positively towards your father, right? Is that
Yeah. He's man of very few words.
okay?
But we have a solid relationship. Yeah.
Okay.
He's definitely more dependable
Yeah.
than my mom. And then my sister, my older sister, we always have a good time together, and I can always rely on her.
Good. Yeah.
yeah,
So,
I mean,
sometimes when we're thinking about like
I think it'll be a bummer.
the negative aspects of a certain area of our life, they can kind of outweigh the positive aspects. Not that like
practical reasons
you know,
why the college
we should dismiss the importance
I think
of
what I need
those
to
like
do in the next few days
issues that we're dealing with, but at the same time, we can't really forget about the positive in our lives too, because those are just as important, right? So, what do you think it would look like for you to think about the positive? And I mean, well, let me finish this one. That's my thought. What do you think would change if you were to focus on the positive aspects of your family?
Since I know that I won't hear back from the college right away.
I mean, nothing would change, but it would. But it would just be the same to be thinking more about the positive.
Rachel always talks about how they're asking for more
So,
volunteers that the kids.
I mean, I'd probably feel better.
Yeah, I think. Okay, so you think you'd feel better if you were to focus more on the positive thoughts about your family.
Well, I feel like it's
what do
mostly
you think it would take for you to to start using those positive thoughts, or to start kind of not necessarily ignoring the thoughts you have currently, but like let's say you get home and you start kind of not having the distractions of school and being around people, and thoughts of your mother start to come into your mind, and maybe some moments of guilt. In that moment at home, what do you think you could do to change those thoughts, to change like the things that are going through your mind?
What can I do to change it? I think like I don't know, to just remember every day to think of what I'm positive or think what I'm grateful for.
We got a few more years before that sets in.
So maybe try to balance out any negative thought that I have, so you think that I'm grateful for as well. Does that sound
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. What do you think? Like, what do you think about the likelihood of actually being able to do that in those moments? Do you think that's like an attainable goal for you, or do you think that's something that you could do when you get home?
Yeah, I think the problem is I might forget. So is there a way that I can try to remember that, or like have like a good time every day or something? Or
Right.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good question. I mean, you know yourself the best. So, thinking about how you do things and if you have a problem and like ways you solve it, what have you done in the past to kind of remember to do something or to kind of key in on certain things that you know you need to do or would be helpful for you to do?
I mean, I have a school planner that I use like all my classes, like my work schedule and stuff.
Okay. Okay. And is that something that you use pretty like regularly, your planner? Okay. And how often, or well, when do you check your planner?
Every morning.
Every morning. Okay. Do you check your planner when you get home from school?
Yeah.
You do. Okay. So what do you think? Like if you put a note in your planner, you know, make a list of things I'm grateful for. Would you like? Would that you think that would be helpful for you when you get home to maybe prevent the negative thoughts from overpowering?
I mean, I can try it.
Well, you know, it's a lot of the same kids.
Yeah.
Really.
Okay. Yeah. Well, why don't
I think the difference with college.
why don't we try that? Maybe take a note in your planner, think positively, or you know, I mean, thinking positivity is pretty broad and it's not very like specific, which can make it harder to attain. So if we make a note, like list 3 things that I'm grateful for, or list 3 positive thoughts, and maybe you can write them like in your planner, you know, write them right there, like jot them somewhere, and see if that makes a difference, and maybe like
So yeah, in that sense.
like obviously write them down, but think about them too, so that it sticks in your head a little bit, and maybe make a note and see if you feel better. Because I know we had talked last week about control and things we have control over, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you had said that you know your relationship with your mother is from what I'm hearing is causing you a lot of like hurt, you know. But at the same time, you have very little control over her and like changing her, and you know, and especially being from Ann Arbor, you don't have control. The only thing you have control over is the thought and the thoughts you have and how you react to certain things. And so, I think maybe you know, focusing in on that over things you have control over, such as your thoughts and making them known and having something tangible. We could see how that affects you and see if it makes any positive changes. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, would it be like every day or something, or how often would I do it?
Well, I mean, that's up to you. How often do you think you could, like, what's an attainable goal for you?
Yeah.
I could do it like
I want to try to. You know,
Okay, so 3 times a week, like, write it in your planner. I mean, maybe you can do it, like, ahead of time, so that's already there. It's like when those days come, you know, like on Sunday night, you can write it in your planner so that throughout the week it's already there.
Yeah.
Get home, check your phone, see that little note.
Mm-hmm.
You know. Okay. Does that seem like a doable goal for you? Like a doable homework? I know you probably have a lot of homework already. I don't want to assign you anymore, but hopefully this one isn't that stressful.
Yeah, it's okay. It's minor compared to other stuff I have.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Well,
So yeah.
I think it.
That's my big goal.
It's good to hear, you know, that you feel like you're doing better in the recent week, and I'm sure you are hoping that this kind of feeling of betterness, if that's a word, will continue, you know. So I think having these little like tasks and these little goals for ourselves will help, you know, with this progress. But if at any time you feel like this isn't working for you, or it's not like helpful at all, and it's like it just doesn't work with how you do things, we can reevaluate and maybe switch it up and go with a different technique. but how are you feeling? Are you feeling like this is? I know I kind of asked you this, but then in terms of like how our sessions are going and how we're kind of having our conversations, are you feeling comfortable with the way it's going? Yeah. Okay. We'll keep going with this way then and see where it takes us.
Yeah.
But we're coming to the end of our time. So is there any pressing, you know, anything pressing that's on your mind that you would like to share with me at this moment? No? Okay. Okay. Well, it was great seeing you again. I'm glad you came in. We'll go with that goal that we have, and then we'll check back in. Go.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Yeah.